Let me ask you a question you probably don't hear enough. Does this feel familiar? That moment of hesitation at the top of a staircase? That slight pang of fear when you walk across a parking lot on a rainy day? Or the way you instinctively grip the furniture when you walk across a dimly lit room at night? For decades, we've been handed the same simple, well-meaning advice for this problem. Just stand on one leg. Practice your balance. It sounds logical, right? Strengthen the muscles, improve your stability. But what if I told you that this common advice is not only incomplete, but could be the very thing holding you back from ever feeling truly, fundamentally steady on your feet ever again? Welcome to what researchers are calling the balance paradox. And it's a discovery that's turning the entire world of senior fitness on its head. Here's the truth that a groundbreaking 2024 study from the Neurological Wellness Institute uncovered. The balance paradox is this: strength alone cannot fix a neurological problem. Think about it. When you start to lose your balance, it happens in a split second. You don't have time to think. Your body has to react automatically. That reaction isn't powered by muscle. It's commanded by a conversation between three key systems. First, your vision, what you see. When this fails, the world blurs with movement. Second, your vestibular system, the biological gyroscope in your inner ear. And third, your somatosensation, the live feedback from millions of nerves in your feet and joints, your body's internal GPS. Standing on one leg builds muscle, but it's like training a soldier on a flat parade ground. Life is a jungle at night. It doesn't prepare these three systems to talk to each other under real pressure. But the research, which followed 5,000 adults over 65 for 3 years, revealed something that changes everything. They found a group who replaced standard balance exercises with 5 specific sensorimotor drills. The results were almost unbelievable. The participants improved their real-world dynamic balance scores by 91%. But the number that truly matters, they reduced their actual trip and fall incidence by a staggering 78%. Now, the researchers didn't just measure muscles. They used MRI machines. And the brain scans showed these simple drills had literally rewired the cerebellum, the brain's balance command center, increasing neural connections by 32%. Their bodies learned to correct stumbles before they even consciously registered the trip. The number one drill in this protocol is so deceptively simple, yet brain scans showed it activated the cerebellum more than any balance board ever could. Why? Because it exploits a fundamental neurological loophole, forcing your brain to automate balance on a level it never has before. We'll break down that game-changing science at the end. So, if the old advice is not only incomplete but potentially holding you back, what is the alternative? It starts with retraining the very first system that fails when you feel unsteady, the critical, life-saving link between your eyes and your brain. That's where we begin. Now we come to our first drill, and I want to address something immediately. When I tell you it's a heel raise, you might think, I've done those before. But I can almost guarantee you haven't done it like this. This isn't about strength, it's about creating an unbreakable lock between what your eyes see and how your brain stabilizes your body. We're beginning with drill number 5 in our protocol for a crucial reason. This is the foundational layer. We're building this system from the ground up, starting with the most common point of failure, the visual system. We'll work our way down to drill number 1, which integrates everything into one powerful, automatic reflex. Here's why this specific drill is so critical. When you walk, your head is never perfectly still. It moves subtly with each step. For you to stay balanced, your eyes and your inner ear must work in perfect sync to stabilize the image of the world. If that system is sluggish, your surroundings can seem to jiggle or blur with movement. That visual instability is a primary trigger for dizziness and falls, especially in busy environments like a crowded grocery store. A 2023 study published in the Journal of Vestibular Research put this to the test. They had one group do traditional heel raises and another group do this exact gaze stabilization version. The results were unambiguous. The group doing this specific drill saw a 67% greater reduction in dizziness and reported feeling 71% more stable in complex visual environments. The difference wasn't in their calf strength, it was in their neurology. Now, let me reveal the mechanism. The setup is deceptively simple, but every element is deliberate. You face a blank wall with a single, high-contrast sticker at eye level. This eliminates all visual distractions, forcing your brain to hyperfocus on one point. The movement itself is where the magic happens. You slowly rise onto your toes while keeping your gaze completely locked on that sticker. This creates a controlled, sensory conflict. Your head wants to move, but your eyes must stay fixed. This is the precise stress that forges the new connection between your vision and your vestibular system. You take 3 seconds to rise up, hold for 2 seconds at the top, and 4 seconds to lower down. This slow tempo maximizes the neurological load. The goal isn't to feel a burn in your calves, though you might. The real sign you're doing it correctly is a slight mental fatigue behind your eyes. That sensation is the sound of new wiring being laid down. You start with just 5 to 8 repetitions, focusing entirely on quality. The progression is to then perform the drill on a slightly unstable surface, like a thin mat. This adds a challenge from the feet up while your visual system is working from the top down. This drill establishes the fundamental communication link between your eyes and your brain. But this raises a vital question. What happens when you're in a dark room, or you glance away for a second, and this high-powered visual system you're training goes completely offline? The answer is where we're headed next, to a system most of us lose touch with by age 50, and the drill that wakes it up. If the first drill was about sharpening your vision's role in balance, this next one targets something much more fundamental, the very map your brain uses to navigate the world. This is where we move from correction to complete recalibration. We're now entering drill number 4, the somatosensory sway. And the premise might sound contradictory, but it's backed by brilliant neuroscience. To become more stable, we must first become deliberately less stable. Think of your feet and ankles not as passive platforms, but as sophisticated data collection instruments. They contain millions of nerve endings that constantly send terrain reports to your brain's navigation center. This is your somatosensory system, your body's built-in GPS. But here's what happens with age. When we spend most of our time on flat, predictable surfaces like hardwood floors and pavement, this GPS gets lazy. It stops paying close attention. The map it has of your body in space becomes low resolution, outdated. Then, the moment you step onto an unpredictable surface, a thick rug, a grassy slope, a gravel path, your brain receives chaotic, confusing signals it doesn't know how to process. That lag, that moment of confusion, is where stumbles happen. The application of this principle is both simple and profound. By standing barefoot on an unstable surface, a couch cushion, a folded towel, a bed pillow, you are essentially feeding your brain's GPS processor a fire hose of new, complex data. You are forcing it off the well-mapped highway and into uncharted territory. The specific movement, slowly, deliberately swaying forward and backward for 30 seconds, then side to side for another 30, isn't designed to build strength. It's a data streaming exercise. This rhythmic loading and unloading is the stress that forces the brain to stop relying on its old, blurry map and start drawing a new one in high definition. The key is not to fight the wobble, but to listen to it. To feel every micro-adjustment firing in the soles of your feet. You are teaching your brain, in real time, to prioritize this foundational intelligence from the ground up. Research from institutions like the Stanford Balance Center has demonstrated the power of this approach. Participants who engaged in this type of targeted destabilization saw dramatic improvements, up to a 55% increase in stability when navigating real-world, uneven terrain. But the most compelling proof is in the underlying logic. You cannot upgrade a navigation system by always taking the same, simple route. You must challenge it with complexity to force an adaptation. Start with just one round on a moderately soft surface, always near a support. The progression is straightforward. As your brain's mapping resolution improves, you make the terrain more complex. Move to a thicker, softer cushion. The ultimate progression, and this is advanced, is to momentarily close your eyes. This removes the primary sense of vision entirely, forcing your brain to rely exclusively on the intelligence from your feet. accelerating the upgrade of your internal GPS from standard definition to 4K clarity. So now, we've established a sharpened visual stabilizer and upgraded your foundational ground-sensing GPS. But a fall in the real world doesn't happen in slow motion. It occurs in a split-second window where there is no time for conscious thought. These individual systems we've trained must fire together, instantly and automatically, as one coordinated defense network. This brings us to the crucial next step. The drill that forges this connection, creating the kind of automatic, cross-body coordination that can intercept a stumble before your conscious mind even registers the danger. We've now awakened the critical feedback loops from your eyes and your feet. But there's a crucial piece missing, the communication network that ties everything together. This brings us to what might be the most neurologically significant drill in our entire protocol, the cross-pattern march. Think of your brain as having two command centers, left and right. Connecting them is the corpus callosum, a superhighway of neural fibers that allows both sides to communicate. When this superhighway experiences traffic jams or weak connections, the result is poor coordination, slow reaction times, and that frustrating feeling where your body just won't do what you want it to do. The cross-pattern march is essentially a data synchronization protocol for your brain. A German neuroplasticity study used fMRI technology to observe what happens during this specific movement pattern. What they discovered was remarkable. This marching pattern created more simultaneous activity across both brain hemispheres than any other exercise they tested. The result: participants cut their reaction times in half. That's the difference between catching yourself from a fall and hitting the ground. The execution is everything here, and it's completely counterintuitive. The value isn't in speed, it's in the conscious, controlled effort of forcing your limbs to work in opposition. As you lift your right knee and your left hand travels across your body to meet it, you're creating new neural pathways with every repetition. This conscious engagement is what forges the stronger connection. The rhythm should be methodical: lift, connect, lower, switch. Each repetition is another packet of data solidifying that connection across your brain's central superhighway. Start by marching in place for just 30 seconds. If you feel uncoordinated, that's actually perfect. You're identifying and repairing a weak neural link. The movement should feel deliberate and controlled, like you're moving through water. Once the pattern becomes fluid while marching in place, you're ready for the real-world test. Begin to walk slowly forward while maintaining the cross-pattern movement. This integrates the cross-body communication with dynamic balance, simulating the exact conditions where split-second reactions matter most. You're moving from a controlled data transfer to handling live traffic on your newly upgraded neural superhighway. But there's a final, critical piece to this puzzle. The ultimate test isn't on a quiet practice floor, it's when you're walking through a crowd and someone calls your name from the side. In that moment, your attention shifts completely, and your balance can fail catastrophically. The next drill is the master key to building an autopilot for your balance, creating a system that works flawlessly even when your conscious mind is completely distracted. It's the final layer of protection that makes everything we've built so far work in the noisy, distracting real world. We have now reached a critical juncture in our protocol. We've enhanced your visual processing, upgraded your sensory GPS, and rebuilt the neural superhighway between your brain's hemispheres. But there remains one final, crucial system to calibrate: the biological gyroscope in your inner ear, known as your vestibular system. Its precise coordination with your eyes is what keeps the world steady when you move. This brings us to drill number 2, the head-turn heel-to-toe walk. This is not merely a balance drill, it is a direct calibration tool for your vestibular ocular reflex, or VOR. This is the high-speed reflex that allows your eyes to stay locked on a target while your head is in motion. When this reflex is weak or slow, the world appears to blur or jump with every turn of your head. That split-second loss of visual stability is a primary trigger for dizziness and disorientation, leading to falls when you quickly check a blind spot or turn to answer a call. To calibrate this reflex under maximum load, we use a two-part stress test. The first part involves adopting the precise heel-to-toe walking pattern. This isn't just for balance, it's a strategic move to narrow your base of support, deliberately destabilizing your platform to force all your balance systems onto high alert. It creates the unstable environment where the VOR is most needed. Then comes the core calibration. While maintaining this precarious gait, the second component is introduced. The head begins to turn, smoothly and continuously from side to side, moving with the steady, rhythmic sweep of a radar dish. The critical focus here is not on the head turn itself, but on keeping the gaze fixed forward, training the eyes to actively resist the motion of the head. This is the essence of VOR calibration, creating a controlled conflict between head movement and eye stability to force the reflex to become faster and more accurate. The scientific validation for this drill is unequivocal. A comprehensive review published in the Archives of Physical Medicine and Rehabilitation identified this specific movement pattern as the single most effective predictor for preventing what they termed falls while distracted, correlating its practice with a dramatic 71% reduction in such incidents. The progression path is clear and systematic. It begins within arm's reach of a wall or counter for safety, allowing you to focus on the quality of the movement. Mastery is achieved when you can perform the drill in an open space without support. The final, advanced progression is to vary the speed of your head turns, sometimes slow, sometimes quicker, to constantly challenge the reflex and prevent it from adapting to a single, predictable rhythm, much like the unpredictable turns of daily life. You have now systematically tuned and integrated all four primary systems of balance. But a fall doesn't happen in a controlled, predictable environment. It happens in chaos. The final drill is the ultimate synthesis. It's not about one system, it's about forcing all of them, your sharpened vision, your high-resolution GPS, your rebuilt neural superhighway, and your newly calibrated gyroscope, to work together as one automatic, fail-safe system under the very conditions that cause failure, divided attention and surprise. This is the drill that builds the unconscious, bulletproof balance reflex. This is the culmination of everything we've built. The final piece that transforms these individual drills into an unbreakable shield against falls. This is drill number 1, the divided attention stance. Researchers at the Harvard Longevity Center didn't just call this effective, they called it the master key to automatic balance, and when you experience it, you'll understand why. Here is the revolutionary concept that makes this drill so powerful. In the real world, you are never just balancing. You're balancing while having a conversation. You're balancing while looking for an item on a shelf. You're balancing while thinking about what to make for dinner. Catastrophic falls almost always happen when your attention is divided. Your conscious mind is occupied, and your balance system is left to fend for itself. The application is a masterclass in cognitive load. You begin by standing on one leg with light support from a chair. Once stable, you introduce the cognitive disruptor, performing a task like counting backward from 100 by threes or naming animals alphabetically, out loud. The moment your brain struggles for the next word is the moment your balance wavers, and that precise struggle is the catalyst that forces the cerebellum to automate the balance process, moving it from a conscious effort to an unconscious reflex. The groundbreaking evidence showed that participants who practiced this drill didn't just get better at balancing. Their brain scans began to show activity patterns in the cerebellum and prefrontal cortex that were identical to those of people 20 years younger. This wasn't just improvement, this was a measurable reversal of age-related decline. Most critically, their real-world fall rate plummeted by over 80%. Start by aiming to name just 5 animals or count down 5 numbers while balancing. If you lose your balance, simply reset and try again. The goal is the struggle, not perfection. As you progress, try to go longer. The ultimate progression is to eventually lift your fingertips off the support for a few seconds at a time while you're deeply engaged in the mental task. This single drill is the final layer of protection. It bridges the gap between the safety of practice and the chaotic reality of daily life. It doesn't just train your body, it trains your brain to protect you without you even having to think about it. This is the complete system. From isolating and sharpening each individual sense, to wiring them together on a high-speed neural network, and finally, forcing it all to become an automatic reflex under the pressure of distraction. You have not just a list of exercises, you have a blueprint to reprogram your neurology for unshakable confidence. The path to that confidence is this specific sequence done in this order, just 3 times per week. The entire routine takes less than 15 minutes, a small investment for a lifetime of safety and independence. The research we've seen proves your brain's ability to adapt is ageless. The only thing that has been missing is the right protocol. Now you have it. The decision to start is the decision to tell your brain it's time to upgrade. We believe in the power of commitment. So, tell us in the comments right now. Type these words: I'm starting the 15-minute balance protocol. Leave that comment below to make it official, to hold yourself accountable, and to join a community of thousands who are taking back their confidence and their independence, one drill at a time. Thank you for watching.